This video is for the beginners pitching camp for January and February 2023. You all have a handout. I broke out the pitching form into 5 steps. So over the 4 weeks, we're going to cover all these 5 steps. So let's start. So the first one, we're all going to have a little different wind up. Don't really pay attention to hers because that's not the one you're going to use. So the first one on your paper is shin and spine angle. So you can see her shin and her spine are similar angles. They're a little bit like in a sprinter position. You'll hear that a lot, is a sprinter position. And her knee is past her toe. You can see that. And you can see that her hips are back a little bit, ready to launch. Okay? So she's just going to spring those hips forward and drive those to the catcher. But the main thing here we're going to take away is the shin spine angle. Okay? If we do that, we can get the other things kind of click in. So the next one I have on there is the launch and the point. So she's going to launch out. You see those hips drive forward. You're going to see her knee come up, and you're going to see her right heel lift up pretty quick. So the second visual we have right now is this one. This is your point position. Sometimes it's called 3 o'clock because we think about the arm in a clock circle. So this is another point we're going to think about, this point here. So her right heel is up off the ground. Both arms are reaching to the catcher. Her knee is up to her hip, and she's pretty much stacked, meaning that her right shoulder, her right hip, and her right knee are in a straight line. So she's already tall here. She's not leaning forward anymore. Even though she was leaning forward in that shin spine angle, she now has launched herself into upright position. So the next one we're going to go to is a landing and separation. So separation is a fancy word for open, but we say separation and landing right there. So what we're going to look at here is that when her foot landed, do you see where her elbow is? It's pretty high. I usually say up by the ear is a good place to think about it. You can see her right heel is still off the ground, and her glove is not flying too far away from her body. She's still trying to point it to the catcher, though she is starting to squeeze that elbow into the body. So we call it separation because she opened her body, and you're going to notice that even on the next position, separation matters a lot because those shoulders are going to stay open. So this was the third spot. Then we're going to keep going. Now we're going to start rotating. So the hip leads the whip, and we'll rewind this a little bit. So you can see how her hips start rotating and it's pulling the elbow down. And a huge thing, you see how that palm is up to the sky? This is major for speed. If your palm is not to the sky, you're not going to throw as hard as you want to. And you can see that her elbows are both pulling into her body as she's rotating. And this is about the next position that we're going to think about a little bit here. This is more of the progress of it, so that's why I was moving it a little bit more. So it's this rotate. And notice her heel is still up. Her right knee is starting to drive to the catcher. So we're going to be thinking about that. The hip is pulling the elbow down, and the elbow is going to get all the way down to that hip, and then it's going to whip. So the last part is the whip release. So we pulled down, we rotated, boom, she's releasing. A major thing I want you to notice here, her fingers are now behind the ball, and her shoulder is behind her hip. That's key. Everything, she like kind of squeezed her entire body in, so she's like, how I say it, you're like on a pole and you're rotating around this tight pole. You're not slamming like a door. After she lets go, let go, she's going to let her arm follow the ball. She's going to rotate her palm over. I usually like a lower finish than that. That's kind of high. And then she's going to continue squeezing her knees together, and she's going to stand up. So we'll just watch it from the side angle again. I won't talk as much this time. I'll just give you the visuals that are on your handout. So we've got shin spine angle. We're going to launch into the point, and everything stays forward here. We're not opening up yet. When that arm is pointing to the catcher, we have not opened up yet. We're still driving forward. Now we can start opening up. So the next one is that landing and that separation right here. She's still stacked. That back shoulder, hip, and knee are still in a straight line. Now that rotation that leads the elbow with the palm up, squeezing, 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 releasing with the shoulder behind the hip, and then following through, completely standing up, squeezing those knees completely together. Shin spine angle, point, open, separation, rotation, release, finish. And the last piece is a nice close-in view of the whip. So palm is up, elbow touches just a little bit right there. You see that right elbow touch a little bit. She's trying to keep that palm up. She's going to rotate behind that ball, get her fingers behind it, spin it, and then roll her hand over. So those are the 5 pieces we're going to work on. Today is going to be the rock back, just the beginning of the pitch, getting into the spine shin angle, and that's it.